Hello again, YouTube. This is the Truth Man. Last video for today. I want to talk about jobs and how do you know that your job pays enough for you. There's no such thing. But if you really wanted to gauge, we can gauge. Like we can gauge. There's no such thing as a job paying enough. Unless you just are limited as to what you want in life for yourself, and if you have kids or a unicorn wife, what you want for them. It shouldn't be no limit. But let's talk numbers on this one. So here's what you go by. The going rate of all the expert statisticians, or if I'm saying it right, is that your vehicle, your transportation, your housing, both of those combined should only be like 50% of what you take home. So that means that you're supposed to be able to save 10 to 20%. So let's just say 20%. So now you add 70% what you save every week, your housing and your transportation. That leaves another 30% for food, entertainment, so on and so forth, right? So you do it like this. You add up like what kind of car you want to drive. If you're gonna pay a note, if you're not gonna pay a note, let's just say you paid a note. We're gonna come up with a note. We're gonna come up with a rent. Now you, of course, if you in your right mind or whatever, you're gonna want to live around people who don't commit crimes, who not too dramatic, they just civilized and they have good behavior, right? Well, you already know that you gotta pay to be in neighborhoods and around people like that. So let's look at this. Okay, in most cities, we'll just say 1,800. We'll say 1,800 for rent. 18, let's do the math. So 1,800 for rent. And you want a nice car. You're by yourself. Let's just say you're by yourself. We'll do by yourself first. You want to live in a decent area. So that's 1,800. Plus you want to drive a decent car, so you're looking at another 500. So that's 2,300 a month right there. Now you want to be able to save 20%, which we have to figure out. Okay, let's do a test. Let's say you make $23 an hour. You get paid every week. That's $920 a week. After taxes, you're probably looking at about $780. 780 times 4. That's $3,120. So you got to make more than $23 an hour to live like that. Okay, let's say 28. $28 an hour times 40. That's a little more, 1120. So you're looking at about maybe 900, clearing 900 a week, which is 3,600. Okay, let's do the math on 3,600. 3,600 minus the 1,800. You still have 1,800 minus 600 for the car. You still have 1,200. So I think that's a good rate. That's a good rate. So for you to live comfortably by yourself, like no wife, no kids, and you want to live in a decent area with a decent car, you probably need to make like 28 an hour. Now you could actually make it on far less than that. You could probably make it on 15 an hour. But you're gonna live in a lesser environment, and you probably gonna have to come down a little bit in your car. Maybe drive like well, you don't want to drive no Kias. They're still maybe like a car like 250. Like maybe get you a small car and just smash. I mean, if you 6'2" like me, now look at the seatbelt. It's all twisted up. Wait, hold on. I mean, but the reason for this video is we need to start figuring before we start buying. See, that's where we all get in trouble. That's where the 72% check to check comes in, because we see things, we like them, we get them. They just want to get you to sell. They don't care if you're struggling and you're not putting money up for your kids, you don't save money, so on and so forth. They don't care about none of that. What they care about is getting that sale. That's why it would probably work better in a situation like that. Let's say you making let's go back to the 23. You know, you ride Uber and Lyft, which probably run you work 5 days a week, probably run you like 30 a day. That's 150, which is still 600 a month. So if you save like 400 a month for like 3 years, you can get that same brand new car if you wanted to. Put like half down on it, like 6,000 down. You can get a nice new car with a reasonable car note. But let's say you don't want no car note. Then what you do is you got to make that sacrifice. Get you like a car that's going to run for you. A Bonneville, like a 2002, 3, 4 Bonneville or something, or a LeSabre or a Park Avenue, something that's going to run. That might not look the best and up to date, but it's going to get you where you need to go. And just get a clean one. So you got a car, you drive that car practically till the wheels fall off, and you save that same 500 a month. You save 500 a month, that's 6,000 a year. If you do that for 5 years, that's 30,000 you can put towards a new car. You don't have to pay 30,000. You go in there and you look at a car for 30,000 and tell them you'll give them 27. I guarantee you they take it, because they mark it up on purpose. So you say, well, I don't want that depreciation. Man, who cares about that? If you gonna drive this car for a while, it's still gonna be worth something if you choose to sell it 7 years down the line. But if you want a brand new car, you can't worry about depreciation. You just get you a new car. If you worried about depreciation, then you got to get you like a 2-3 year old car. But what I'm noticing is the number one key to having the nicest things in life, money-wise, material-wise, is sacrifice. It's not even saving. I would say that's number 2. You got to be willing to make those sacrifices. And after you make those sacrifices, then number 2 would be you got to save your money and invest your money. I would put those 2 together. So when you do that, it starts to matter less, a little less, than how much you make. Because you can make $10 an hour. If you saving a lot of that money and you making the sacrifices, you're not listening to nobody, of course they're going to mistreat you. They're going to treat you like you broke. So some people, it's classes. They're not racist, they classes. So they're going to be looking at you like you lesser. Who cares? Make the sacrifices from a young age and keep being that way. When you get my age, the world will be within reach. If you are my age, it's still not too late. You just got to start making more sacrifices, because those car notes will get you, man. I'm telling you. They will get you. Like, you start saving money, you ain't saving enough money, so now you got to put money on that car. Car notes will get you. So, yeah, you want to make as much as you can, but that's not as important as being willing to make those sacrifices based on what you currently make. And sometimes you don't be in position to make sacrifice. That's why you don't be so quick to try to get married and have kids. Listen, if you want to get married young, then your wife better recognize that y'all both need to work. Because all it takes, like I'm telling you, is for one or two things to go wrong, and you're going to be playing catch up from that point. So when y'all first starting out, if you married or you got a girlfriend, even if you let that girl move in there, she should be paying them bills. Simple as that. Like, you first of all, you don't want to depend on her to pay the bills, but you want to run it past her to see how committed she is to you. So if she wants to move in and play house and all this other stuff, then she should be willing to pay some of those bills. She should be willing to pay some of those bills. That little, trust me when I tell you, that trying to do everything does not work. It don't work. That don't make them act no better. So if you want to go that route, that's fine, man. You want to pay everything. Just make those sacrifices. Get your money together first. Like I tell you, should nobody be moving no female in that ain't willing to help them. And should nobody be moving no female in if you ain't, and you shouldn't even be having kids or nothing unless you got 15 grand saved up, minimum. You should not be having babies. If you don't got 15 grand, you should not be having no babies. I'm talking about cash, like in rubber bands, however you want to do it. But guys don't plan. That's why 72% check to check is because people don't plan and they don't make sacrifice. Every year, Christmas, $1,300. They only got $600 in the bank. They spent $1,300 in Christmas, which means they take the money they had in the bank and they add to it and spend even more money that they really probably shouldn't even spend. So going rate would depend on your level of sacrifice. If you say, okay, let's say you don't want to sacrifice nothing, then again, like I showed you, your housing, your transportation, and your savings should total no more than 70%. You still should have that other 30% for food, for entertainment, for clothing, so on and so forth. And for your other bills, which, by the way, try not to make that many. You're going to need a phone. If you want to have bills of things you want, like if you want Netflix, or you shouldn't just pay stuff you have to pay. You should be paying something that you want to pay to make your work worthwhile. But, like I say, sacrifice, save, invest. Sacrifice, save, invest. So I would tell guys by themselves, this is my going rate. If you live by yourself, be cheap, but buy things you want and need sometimes. And make sure that you working your way up to at least $20 an hour. At least. So if you at 12, that means you got $8 more to go. What you got to do? You figure it out. Do you need to take some classes? Do you need to have a second job? Whatever you got to do to get yourself up to that 20. You making 12, you should be working 2 jobs. You should be working 2 jobs. What you hugged up for? Why you always with her? You should be working 2 jobs. Because next to God and health, the third tier, I would say, is money. Immediate family, or if you got kids, stuff like that, wife, immediate family, and then money. If you by yourself, then money would be third. So just think about these things, man. Think about these things so you won't get yourself in trouble. Like, you could drive, all this systematic, I talked about that the other day. Stop worrying about racism and worry about accolade and accomplishment and accumulation. Accolades, accomplishments, accumulation. Those the A's you should be in, not ASS. Not getting ASS. Okay, you want to get ASS? Add ET to the end. Assets. Assets are more important than the first half of that word. So, yeah. I just wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about that. You single, you should be trying to get up to 20 an hour. If you go on the job route, you need to get up to 20. So if you only making 12, that means you need to average another $8 an hour from a second job. And while you doing it, if you don't want to work 2 jobs, then you need to be getting up to that 20. Whether you got to take some classes, apply for some new jobs, whatever you got to do. If you got, let's say it's you and your wife or you and your girl, now you want to get up to 30. Because to me, for each kid that you have, you want to be averaging at least $15 per hour for each kid that you have. This is how you stay out of trouble, man. See, this is where I got in trouble. So if it's you and her, you want to be making 30. If it's you, her, and a kid, you want to be making 45. This is how you're going to be well-to-do. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to close this out in a minute. So, if it's you, her, and a kid, you make $45 per hour. That's grossing $1,800. That's like $100,000 a year almost. So, $1,800 a week. You probably gonna get like 15 of that. That's $1,500 a week for only 3 people. Now let's say you add another kid. So you want to be making 60. You, as long as you ain't no impulsive person, you making $60,000 or $60 an hour. You gonna have multiple cars. You gonna have a nice house in the suburbs. You gonna have nice clothes. You gonna have nice everything. You gonna be able to take good vacations. See, I think people be settling. $12. You only make $14, and you've been there 10 years. You've been there 10 years and you only make $14. Any job that you work that long, you should be up there. Like, you should be practically running the company. Or, I mean, you got police, correction, stuff like that. It ain't gonna quite work like that. But, I mean, if you work somewhere 10 years, man, and let's say you got a job that caps out your salary. It's time to get a side hustle, a business, some property. If you're comfortable in that job that capped out your salary, it's time to add to that then. Or if you're not comfortable, it's time to move on. The speed of you moving on just gonna be determined by what you already accumulated. I mean, these is all the things that I believe, if people take into consideration, that check-to-check number would go down. Like one of my sons, he's in management now. And I still told him, I said, man, don't stop there. Don't stop there. But anyway, thanks for watching. Keep tuning in. The channel is No Matrix. No letting jobs cap you and not doing anything. No impulsiveness with your money. That's what, I gotta learn. You gotta learn. We all gotta learn. No simping. All subjects channel. Thanks for watching. Keep tuning in for more videos.